It's your boy Prince Elias, and today is March 31st. Oh my gosh, these days run together. I promise you, I forgot what day it was. Not just the numbers, but whether it was Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Man, this quarantine is killing us. But anyways, today is March 31st, and it's also known to the LGBTQ community as International Trans Day of Visibility. And I'm losing light. And I've been seeing a lot of Instagram posts and a lot of Facebook posts of people who are openly trans coming out, sharing their stories. And I shared mine, of course, on my social medias, but I wanted to make a official video because I brought up my identity and stuff in past videos, but I want to actually make a YouTube video actually going in depth, because my story is probably not unique, but compared to my trans friends who's been out and proud ever since they were kids, like young elementary school age kids, I came pretty late in the game. You know what I'm saying? I've been out as a non-binary trans person or masculine person for about 3 years now, 2 or 3 years. And I was real late coming out the closet because, one, it took me a while to get the language and the understanding, because unlike most of my friends, a lot of my friends grew up way back before me. Way back after me. I'm like the oldest person they know. That's in the community, LGBTQ community. Because I was born in the late 80s, early 90s. So back in my day, the word transgender, the word trans men, trans women, non-binary, genderqueer, gender fluid, these words didn't exist. The people existed, but the language did not exist back in those days. Like, my first time seeing a trans person on TV or out in public, everybody referred to them as cross-dressers, trannies, transsexuals, or just the typical freaks of nature. That's what I kept hearing growing up as a kid. Or that man is in a woman's dress or drag, everybody was automatically put in the drag category, even though they weren't drag queens. They were just living their lives open. And if YouTube flags me for the language I just said, I'm just saying what the words I've heard growing up. Not saying those words was right, not saying those words was good, not saying I agree with them. That's what I heard. That's, as a kid growing up, you grow up, you see what is a trans woman, a clear trans woman. People said those derogatory terms towards her, and didn't even use he, she pronouns, or he, her, or her, she, her pronouns, or he, him pronouns. They would just say, oh, look at that freak, look at that man in the dress, look at that tranny. That's what I saw growing up. And so growing up, I automatically knew that, I grew up in a church in the South. So I was taught that was wrong. I was taught that was evil, that wasn't of God, that was a sin, all the bullshit that we've heard time and time again due to society and religion. So I was told and taught early on as a child, seeing people refer to trans women as those horrible things, that was wrong. And if I saw I don't even think I've ever seen a trans man as a child back in the early 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And if I did, they automatically threw them in the butch category or the dyke category, or the tomboy, as I grew up as a child. Nobody ever put that there was a transgender person or there was a trans man. Now, if you go talk to those people who were called that, dyke, butch, or whatever, some of them have now in their older years come out as trans men, because that's what they were, but we didn't have the language for back in those days. So anywho, long story short, I'm not going to give you guys my full life story. I've been quite open about it on social media, but I've been through a lot of things in life, as everybody go through things. Life is hard. Life is hard for everybody. Some people go through worse. Some people go through less. Some people born with certain privileges. Some people born with no privileges at all. It's just life. So I'm not going to give you guys the whole full spiel, but I did know at an early age that I was attracted to both genders. I had crushes on guys. I had crushes on girls. I had huge crushes on girls. I had crushes on grown women as a child. Like, I would see them and I thought I was just infatuated. No, it was beyond that. It was kind of to the point that it was kind of uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? As a child. But I had to suppress those things because I was taught that, straight is the way. You have to, you're born a girl, you have to like boys. End of discussion. You get married, you have kids, that's it. So, growing up in the church in the South, scared to express my feelings of how I feel being attracted to both genders. And let me say this right now, and I'll get back to my story. Gender identity and gender expression are two different things. So imagine being a child going through that. You identify as something different. You don't feel comfortable in your body. You don't feel comfortable in your skin. You don't feel comfortable with the gender you were given at birth. And you're also not 100% attracted to the opposite sex of the gender that you were born at birth. So imagine how confusing that is as a child to go through that, to always have that in your mind, not knowing that not even knowing there's a possibility that, one, you could date whoever you want as long as you're a consensual adult, or two, there's a life where if you want to get married to a woman and you're a woman, you can. If you want to get married to a man and you're a man, you can. Like, back in those days, we never saw that as a possibility. That was like the impossible. And then on top of that, you got kids like me who are told they're a girl, forced to dress like a girl, are told by everybody, why don't you be more feminine? Why are you sitting like that? Why are you standing like that? Why are you playing with the boys? Why are you always hanging out with the boys? Why don't you like these bows and makeup and other shit and, feminine shit? And you're like, in your whole time, your body, your mind, everything, your spirit, your soul is saying, no, I don't want that. Don't put me in a fucking dress. Like, I've been wanting to tell my mom that ever since I was a kid. Imagine being 5 years old and wishing you could say, don't put me in a fucking dress, but you can't. Or you're going to get your ass beat. But my whole life is like, no. My whole life, when I picture me getting married, even back then when I would try to picture me getting married to a man, I never saw myself in a dress. And I know gender is a construct, social construct. Clothing is a social. No clothing is gendered. No color is gendered. But growing up as a child, when society is telling you this, and your whole being, your whole soul, your whole spirit is like, nah, bruh. Nah, that ain't for me. I've always been like that. Like, ooh, my prom pictures are so cringe. Every time. Easter pictures, everything. I remember how depressed I was at prom. The dress was beautiful itself. The gown was beautiful. I'm not going to lie. But I put it on, seeing it on me, looking in the mirror on me. No, bruh. I would have rather wore a tux. I would have been happy. But there are a lot of regrets I have. I really feel like I should have stuck up for myself more. I should have set more boundaries, but at the same time, I didn't feel safe. Point blank, period. And there's a lot of trans kids out there right now who might stumble across this video who don't feel safe. And that's okay. That's cool. You're okay to hide for the time being for your protection. There's a lot of LGBTQ people out there who try to shame people for being in a closet. Like, you should come out. You should be free. Why? Calm down, because some kids have gotten killed by their parents. I can't tell you how many news stories I've read and seen where a father killed his son because he thought he was gay. Not that the boy came out as gay. He thought he was gay. There have been trans women, black trans women have a life expectancy that's so short. They don't, the statistics tell you that I think the average age for a black trans woman is like 30 to 35 or something like that. They don't expect to live long lives. So it's okay if you're not out yet. And that's one of the reasons why I want to make this YouTube video and put it out on YouTube, whether they demonetize it, flag it, whatever, I don't give a fuck. For anyone who sees this video, anyone, and you're going through, you're confused, you're questioning your gender, you're questioning your sexuality, you're questioning your core being, your heart, you don't, because society is telling you one thing, religion is telling you one thing, your parents is telling you one thing, the pastor's telling you one thing, school is telling you one thing, but in your core being, your heart of hearts, not just your brain, but your heart, your gut is telling you, nah, that ain't me. If you don't feel safe, it's okay to not come out right now. Wait till you're grown. I tell a lot of kids, because I'm going to be honest with you. I work in the school system, and I've actually had a child come to me about their sexuality. I'm never going to out them, not to their parents, not to the school board. Fuck that. I'm never going to out that student. I'm never going to out that child, even though that child is no longer in my school because they graduated, moved on to middle school, and probably will be in high school in the next couple of years. I will never out that child. But that child came to me in confidant, told me about how they felt, and they felt safe with me because I was out. I didn't go around my job talking about who I'm dating. I didn't go around. I was just me. I wore suits. I wore pants. I was just me. And they felt comfortable with me, so they came to me and talked to me, and they don't feel safe. One, they live in the hood. They live in the hood in the South. They live in the Bible Belt. They have parents who are very, aggressive, sort of say. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're abusive, but they're aggressive with their energy. If you say something wrong, they like, roar, they like that. And they don't feel safe. And so I told them straight up, look, you don't have to date a boy if you don't feel attracted to boys. But if you don't want to come out, if you don't feel safe coming out, don't. Wait till you're in college. Wait till you're 18. Wait till you're out your mother's house. It's okay to wait. You don't have to come out and say, I'm free, I'm a lesbian, or I'm bisexual, or I'm trans, or whatever. You don't have to do it right now at a young age. And I commend the kids out there who are out and open. Like Dwayne Wade's daughter, Zaya. Or like my best friend, Leland. When he came out, he was a kid. He was young, mad young, probably younger than 10. He knew. He knew his whole life who he was, deep down in his core. He told his parents, and he dealt with the bullshit he had to deal with. You know what I'm saying? He had to deal with, not being supported. He had to deal with being called an abomination or a sin and all the other bullshit you be hearing in churches and stuff like that. He had to endure that. And I commend him and respect him so much for doing that. But for me, I couldn't. I was a coward. And I won't say I was a coward, but because coward is such a strong word, but I just couldn't do it because I didn't feel safe. That wasn't a risk that I was willing to make at that time. You feel me? And so if you young people out there, regardless of your age, if you don't feel safe, don't come out yet. Wait. It's okay to wait till you feel safe, till you're free, till you out of your parents' house and you ain't got to deal with the bullshit. Got your own place, got your own job, you're paying your own bills. You ain't got to worry about explaining shit to nobody. It is okay. I respect you just as much as I respect the kids who are out and proud and living their best life right now and enduring the bullshit from dumbass adults right now. You are all worthy, regardless of your story. And that's the whole point of this video. Regardless of your story, regardless of your past, regardless of whether you are any part of the LGBTQ plus spectrum, IA spectrum, you are valid. You are worthy. You are beautiful. You are handsome. You are strong. You are brave. Whether you're in the closet or not, You are you. God made you who you are, and he made you beautiful. If you are gay, he made you a beautiful gay person. If you're trans, he made you a beautiful trans person. If you are questioning, asexual, demisexual, all the sexuals, all the genders, all the non-conforming, the gender queers, non-binary, you are you. You are beautiful, whether you're masculine, feminine, somewhere in between, or not even in the spectrum at all. You are beautiful. You are worthy. And even to the straights out there, especially those who are allies, who are loving, who are doing the work, who are educating themselves, and who are prideful and loving and caring and sticking up for us, who are to the marginalized groups. You're beautiful too. Don't feel like you're not worthy just because you were born straight and cisgendered, because you're considered the default. You're wonderful too, just as you are. Be proud in your straightness. Just don't hurt, bully, or encroach, or try to take rights from those who aren't the default. You know what I'm saying? If you're an ally, thank you for being an ally. Thank you for sticking up for us. Thank you for fighting your bigoted ass parents and pastors and everybody else and telling them to go fuck themselves or fuck off and to leave the marginalized alone. I love y'all. I see y'all. Especially those on my social media. I see y'all sticking up for people like me and going against the grain. Thank y'all. Y'all beautiful as well. But to the LGBTQ, especially the trans, because trans have been getting shitted on by a lot of people, including people in our own community, like the gays and lesbians. We see y'all. To the trans women, trans men, trans people of color, trans everybody. You are beautiful. You are worthy. If you're not ready to come out, don't rush. Come out in your own time. You can be a late bloomer like me. It's okay. You're still worthy of love. You're still worthy of hope. And you're still worthy of being respected as a human being. I love y'all. Happy Trans Day of Visibility. Pride is almost coming up. Happy Pride. Happy pre-Pride to everybody. I love y'all. To the next vlog.